President Trump has the highest approval number any president has ever had in history. CNN
and this
reporting.
is one of those, because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Now, there are some Republicans who disapprove of Donald John Trump, but they are not members of the Make America Great Again movement. The bottom line is this: if you are a member of MAGA, you approve of Donald Trump.
It's interesting, though, because there have been a couple prominent people who have sort of come out online, and they're very mad about this war with Iran because he promised no new wars. Is there any sign that people might be leaving MAGA relative to 2024?
Yeah, okay. So, I've said it before, and, the theme of this segment is Tucker Carlson be darned. And when we look at the numbers, I mean, I've heard some people say, oh, you know what, when you look at those MAGA numbers, it doesn't account for those who might have left MAGA. But take a look here. Americans who identify as MAGA, in November of 2024, it was 28% of Americans. Now it's basically the same. If anything, it's slightly higher at 30%. The bottom line is this: the MAGA base within the GOP is not shrinking. It's the same size. If anything, it is slightly larger than it was back in 2024 when, of course, Donald Trump won a second term. So that 100% that Donald Trump has approval among MAGA GOP, that is not an artifact of MAGA shrinking. It's just an indication of how strong Donald Trump's grip is on that MAGA base.
And so I guess that begs the question: what's happening with inside the GOP, and if there are any splits there, because with those kind of numbers, they're going to want to retain that, right? So they can retain their seats.
Yes. And you know what we're talking about? We mentioned Iran in the intro of this segment. GOP on U.S. military action in Iran. Look at this. In MAGA, it's 90% approval. It's 90% approval, just 5% disapproval. If you disapprove of the job that Donald Trump is doing, the U.S. military action in Iran, and you're a member of the GOP, look at this. It's your non-MAGA. You're non-MAGA. It's 36% there, 54% approve. But the majority of Republicans approve of the job that the U.S. military action is in Iran, and the majority of MAGA, which is the majority of the GOP, very much approve, 90%. Very little split in Donald Trump's base. Those who disapprove in the GOP, simply put, they hate MAGA.
Okay. So this is amazing. So President Trump has 100% MAGA support. Okay, this is the most phenomenal, amazing poll ever, and I'm going to tell you why. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. Subscribe if you're new. Okay, this made me feel really good today. It really did. Since the Never-Trumpers assassinated Charlie Kirk, a lot of so-called high-profile MAGA conservative influencers and some other so-called MAGA people have been going out there undermining the entire MAGA movement. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are the two primary ones. Even Alex Jones has been attacking Trump lately. Megyn Kelly attacking Trump a lot. Nick Fuentes, Marjorie Trader Green. Can you think of any others? But those are some of the high-profile ones. And Candace Owens, Marjorie Trader Green, Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, and, of course, Tucker Carlson. They have spent the months since Charlie Kirk died in September, right? So September, October, November, December, January, February, and we're just past the middle of March. So they've spent 6-7 months attacking the president, attacking MAGA. Many of them have taken this bizarre and arrogant stance. This is the Marjorie Trader Green, Candace Owens. Well, Carrie Prejean said on Piers Morgan earlier this week, MAGA is dead. And they've been saying, well, hey, and all these fake MAGA people, I've been telling you they were fake MAGA people that have been calling me on the program saying, I voted for Trump 3 times, I'm MAGA, but he's betrayed me, doing the will of Israel. Or you hear this one a lot. I voted for Trump 3 times, but, he ran on America first, and this war isn't America first. First off, all the people who claim that are liars, going by the CNN poll, because he has 100% MAGA support. But what does this say about these conservative influencers? Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly, Nick Fuentes. And I'm throwing Alex Jones in there because he's been attacking the president lately over the president siding with Mark Levin over Megyn Kelly. You know what it says about those MAGA conservative influencers? What do you? I'm going to tell you. What do you think it says about them? Think about it for a second. What does it say about these conservative influencers? I've given you the same hint several times. You know what it shows you? That they have no influence. They haven't moved the needle at all. Whoever is paying these people to try to turn MAGA against President Trump, it's been money wasted because they haven't influenced anyone. CNN.
And this is one of those, because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Now, there are some Republicans who disapprove of Donald John Trump, but they are not members of the Make America Great Again movement. The bottom line is this: if you are a member of MAGA, you approve of Donald Trump.
It's interesting, though, because there have been...
Okay, there you go. And there's more, which I'll play this again later on the podcast. But it shows you they haven't moved the needle at all. And Candace Owens and all of them, Tucker Carlson, they have spent their days and their nights trying to sabotage the MAGA movement, and they failed. Marjorie Taylor Greene sold her soul and walked away from a lifetime seat in the United States House of Representatives over it to take some bold stand that, much like this Joe Kent BS that they tried to pull yesterday. Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever deal they made with her, she gave up a lifetime seat in the House of Representatives, and now she's gone all Michael Cohen on us, and she's bashing Trump constantly on television. She hasn't moved the needle either. And I have told you guys for years on this program that everything the other side does, the Never Trumpers and the Democrats, is always trying to turn us against him. They arrested him and all that stuff, did all those fake lawsuits, those fake criminal charges, those corrupt judges, corrupt juries, corrupt prosecutors, corrupt president, corrupt attorney generals, and all that. You know the deal. They broke into Mar-a-Lago. They did all. And then when none of that worked, they're like, we can't do these people. They won't leave him. So then they shot him. And then they tried to shoot him again. None of that worked. And now they've gotten all of these conservatives, the ones I've been mentioning by name. And if you can think of others, there are others, but those are the most high-profile ones. These people have sold their souls and their credibility, and still, that's right, MAGA strong, still MAGA is behind the president. So not only does he have 100% support among MAGA Republicans, the president still.
A couple prominent people who have sort of come out online, and they're very mad about this war with Iran because he promised no new wars. Is there any sign that people might be leaving MAGA relative to 2024?
Yeah, okay. So, I've said it before, and, the theme of this segment is Tucker Carlson be darned. And when we look at the numbers, I've heard some people say, when you look at those MAGA numbers, it doesn't account for those who might have left MAGA. But take a look here. Americans who identify as MAGA, in November of 2024, it was 28% of Americans. Now it's basically the same. If anything, it's slightly higher at 30%. Right. The bottom line is this. The MAGA base within the GOP is not shrinking. It's the same size. If anything, it is slightly larger than it was back in 2024 when, of course, Donald Trump won a second term. So that 100% that Donald Trump has approval among MAGA GOP, that is not an artifact of MAGA shrinking. It's just an indication of how strong Donald Trump's grip is on that MAGA base.
And so I guess it begs the question is what's happening with inside the GOP and if there are any splits there, because with those kind of numbers, they're going to want to retain that, right? So they can retain their seats.
Yes. And you know what we're talking about, we mentioned Iran in the intro of this segment, GOP on U.S. military action in Iran. Look at this. In MAGA, it's 90% approval. It's 90% approval, just 5% disapproval. If you disapprove of the job that Donald Trump is doing, the U.S. military action in Iran, and you're a member of the GOP, look at this. It's your non-MAGA. You're non-MAGA. It's 36% there, 54% approve. But the majority of Republicans approve of the job that the U.S. military action is in Iran, and the majority of MAGA, which is the majority of the GOP, very much approve, 90%. Very little split in Donald Trump's base. Those who disapprove in the GOP, simply put, they hate MAGA.
Okay. So there's some other things, too. The time, expense, and trouble that the never-Trumpers and the Democrats went through to try to turn MAGA again, I believe this from the instant it happened, and I know you guys, too, probably. I believe that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by the never-Trumpers to destroy the MAGA movement, right? And I've talked about that a lot, so I'm not going to get too deep into that right now. But it's had an opposite effect. The MAGA movement has actually grown slightly, according to this CNN poll, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Think about what I want you to think about this, guys. Think about what these never-Trumpers and Democrats have done, right? They arrested Donald Trump how many times? They broke into Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago. They shot him in Butler. They tried to shoot him again at the golf course. There's been other assassination attempts, including one 2 or 3 weeks ago at Mar-a-Lago again, right? There's been 3 assassination attempts in his second term at Mar-a-Lago. But these are the big ones we know about. They assassinated Charlie Kirk. They bought off all of these so-called conservative influencers, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and the rest. They made some deal to get Marjorie Taylor Greene to give up her seat in Congress to turn again. This has been a major operation to try to turn us against President Trump. They haven't turned a single soul. They've grown the MAGA movement, and we're MAGA strong and MAGA united more than ever. And everything that they've done, and still 100% of MAGA approve of President Trump. 95% of MAGA support what he's doing. So their entire operation, which includes the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has failed. It has completely failed. How many times have you heard me take a call from someone who claimed to be MAGA, but because of the Epstein files or because of the Iran war recently, he's not America first. He promised the files. He promised no new wars. He delivered the files, by the way. He didn't promise no new wars. He said he was the only president in his first term who didn't give us a new war. He said no more forever wars, by the way. They always quote President Trump and leave out words to change the meaning of them and claim it's an exact quote. So it shows that all those people that I've talked to over the last year are liars. I told you they were liars when they called, and now you know for sure. Welcome, everyone. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig, and, of course, the Brian Craig Show is available wherever you get podcasts. Whatever your favorite podcast platform is, you just go there and search the Brian Craig Show. I'll come up. If you want to catch the show live in video form, that's on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search the Brian Craig Show. Okay, so Markwayne Mullin and Rand Paul, we'll get into a little bit of this. I know it's great news, isn't it? Markwayne Mullin and Rand Paul got into it today. Rand Paul's a crazy person. Markwayne Mullin is going to get confirmed, as he should, but this was after that little exchange. This was Rand Paul came out, talked to the press.
On voting for this nomination?
I think there are anger issues. I think there's a lack of contrition.
He's saying Markwayne Mullin's got anger issues. It seems to me Rand Paul's the one that's got anger issues, huh?
both about the violence that was perpetrated on me, but really the violent episode he was involved in the Senate committee where he's told the media, frankly, that he doesn't regret it. He's also told the media there is, he said it again today, that there's historical precedent for violence, that caning and dueling happened all the time. And I pointed out, well, it was illegal 170, 200 years ago. They would actually flee, and they would do it in areas they could find where the law didn't reach. Sometimes they would actually go to Canada. Sometimes
whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Rand Paul, while I am very sympathetic to what's happened to him in the past, he's been attacked, and I get that, and I don't approve of it, and I condemn that, and that's what the liberals are all about. And yeah, Markwayne Mullin is a tough guy, a bar fight kind of guy. That's what people want. We want badasses and tough guys. We don't want weaselly, politically correct, metrosexual wimps. Okay? We want Bovino, not Bongino. We want Bovino types. We want tough guys, especially in these important positions like Secretary of Homeland Security. Right now we're at war against this terrorist state, Iran. We're involved in mass deportations. We need a tough guy, a Tom Homan type. And yeah, maybe he flies off a little bit and says, meet me outside and all that stuff. So what? Having these politically correct guys, where has that gotten us in the Republican Party? It's gotten us nowhere. Before Trump came down the escalator, the Republican Party, we were a party of losers because our people were all like Rand Paul. They never did anything for us. And, so far as Rand Paul, I don't have much use for libertarians, okay? Libertarians like Rand Paul, they screw everything up. They stand on principles. Well, I can't vote for the border wall because of this. I can't vote for this other MAGA thing because of this. They stand up on these high holy principles like they're better than thou, and nothing gets done. Rand Paul might as well be a Democrat, okay? He does nothing, and Kentucky is a state of people that do nothing but cause us problems and screw us over and let us down, right? Exactly. We got Mitch McConnell and we got Rand Paul. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, my wife just said, I forgot about Massey. Try to block him out. Kentucky, is Comer from Kentucky? Oh, my goodness. Please, there hasn't been anything good come out of Kentucky since the Colonel with the fried chicken, okay? Everything, and if you notice, when I get seminar callers, they all claim to be from Kentucky. What's up with Kentucky? I mean, does Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell and all these people, do they have some kind of call center going on up there in Kentucky with seminar callers? They may call themselves conservative, they may call themselves Republicans, but they might as well be Democrats because what they are they're enemies within. They're obstructionists. They call themselves Republicans, and all they do is hold up the process. And I'll tell you, Mitch McConnell, how many of you believe that Mitch McConnell is a Chinese asset? Mitch McConnell's wife comes from a very prominent and wealthy Chinese family. Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, her father went to school with the former president of China. Very well-connected family, very wealthy. And, I'm not saying she's some hottie, but she's not bad looking for, a woman of her age and all that stuff. Mitch McConnell is one of the most physically repulsive men to walk this earth. I would say he's more disgusting. I know that he's more disgusting than Harvey Weinstein. Now, I know Harvey Weinstein has some physical disfigurements, but, you don't see him with his clothes on. Mitch McConnell is so physically repulsive. Why would a woman who comes from an incredibly wealthy family in China, I mean very wealthy, and money goes a lot farther in China than it does here. So they're like billionaires by the Chinese standards, politically connected, above, average looking, Elaine Chao. I'm not saying she's a hottie, but she's average looking. And she marries a man more physically he's like Jabba the Hutt repulsive. isn't he? Exactly. So there's no doubt that she's his CCP handler, in my mind. I've thought that for years. I know most of you think that too. Nothing good comes out of Kentucky. Massey, Comer. I know Comer. Comer, he goes out on TV and he makes all these, I've got these documents and I got the proof. Oh yeah. Look at this. Oh yeah, Biden made two $10 million deposits in Cyprus. I got the documents from the bank. You don't hear anything about it ever again. Comer, he goes out there and he promises this, he promises that, and he never delivers. And then he subpoenas Pam Bondi about the Epstein files. Why are you giving subpoenas to Trump's cabinet? What's that about, Comer? Nothing good comes out of this Republican delegation from Kentucky, whether it's Rand Paul or Comer or Massey, and certainly the very physically repulsive Mitch McConnell. And I got to tell you, I watched this exchange today with Markwayne Mullin and Rand Paul. I thought Markwayne Mullin was pretty calm, cool, and collected. And I thought that Rand Paul looked like a deranged lunatic. Really. And I would, when I say deranged, I mean, he looked mentally unstable. And I'll tell you, you know what else he looked? You know what he looked like to me? Rand Paul? Scared. Scared of Markwayne Mullin. He's terrified of Markwayne Mullin. But because of the position, he felt very safe up there with the committee. Right? I don't see him talking to Markwayne Mullin like that to his face in private. Not that Markwayne Mullin's going to go off on him, but you can tell he's scared of him. And when as deranged as Rand Paul looked today, I'm going to tell you right here and right now, he did not seem to me mentally stable enough to be a member of the United States Senate in my mind. He didn't. He looked unstable. Terrified beyond imagination. And he's going to vote against Markwayne Mullin. Yeah, good for you. Good for you. He's still going to get confirmed, jerk. I tell you. Republicans in name only. Rhinos. I like rats, Republicans against Trump, but I can't get that to catch on. Everyone knows the rhino. And, with this new poll that CNN shared that I opened the show with, that Trump has 100% support among MAGA Republicans. What does that tell you for the midterms? See, here's the secret, right? You've heard so many times that the party in power, the president, they lose the midterms. Well, as always, the analysis that the pundit class give of President Trump does not apply, and it's out-of-date analysis. And this is what I mean. This is a very unique presidency. Everyone knows who votes that they shot President Trump in Butler because he was going to win the election. Everybody knows that. And that brought a lot of people around President Trump forever. But coming in with a second and non-consecutive term, he came in with a mandate that no president has had since FDR in his first term, when he got the New Deal pushed through in the first 100 days of his first term in 33. No one has had a mandate like this in our lifetime, unless you're really old and were around during FDR's first term. Okay, but not even Biden was around then. Okay, and with this new poll, see, the reason that the party in power tend to lose the midterms is because all these other presidents are liars. They promise us the moon. Oh, yes. Roe v. Wade will be overturned. I will cut your taxes. No new taxes. Blah, 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 blah. And they don't do jack. And their base of support doesn't come out to vote in the midterms because they were let down by that lying president. That goes for both parties, not just Republicans. And what this CNN poll shows us is that Trump's base not only is 100% strong and behind him, it's actually grown. So what that poll really shows is that we've got the midterms locked up if we have a massive turnout. If we swap them at the polls, we're going to win. And not only are we going to maintain control of the Congress, we're going to gain seats, especially with the Save America Act being passed. And this poll, 100% MAGA support for the president, the Save America Act will pass. I am anything could happen, but based on how everything is right now, it's going to pass. And the Save America Act, requiring government-issued photo ID to vote, will be in effect for the midterm elections. In fact, it will be in effect for the primaries in many, many states, not all but many. Here in Florida, our primary is in August. It's getting here quick. And by the way, you will have to show proof of citizenship to register to vote. The Save America Act also includes a provision no one's talking about, which tells me I know it's going to pass because they're not trying to use this to sink it. They're going to connect the voter rolls to the Social Security Administration, and Social Security Administration is going to do a Social Security number run through all the registered voters. And if somebody is dead, Social Security knows you're dead before the doctor tells your family in the waiting room. I don't know how, but they do. So the dead are going to be off the rolls. And, the dead always vote Democrat for some reason. I don't know what it is about that party platform of the Democrats, but they got the dead vote 100% locked up. The illegals, gone. The fictitious people, gone. And it will be in effect for the midterm. Now, we're not going to be able to clean up the voter rolls before the midterm election. Some of them will be. By the next presidential election, it'll be completed. And, of course, they're all going to slow walk it, and these local election supervisors, you know how they're going to do. But the government-issued photo ID to vote will be in effect at every polling location in the United States when people go and vote in the midterms in November. And there'll also be the limitations on the absentees. That's right. You can't sit in a room with a stack of 5,000 absentee ballots and fill in anymore. That's not going to fly with the Save America Act. And it is going to pass. And we can tell it's going to pass based on this information. All right, I'm going to take a break. My name is Brian. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. When we get back, I've got a lot more to cover, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. I'm in the Jupiter Joe radio studio sitting down with Joe Thomas. Joe, a lot of seniors, they're getting their Social Security. They're retired, but not really. They're working a part-time job, maybe even a little bit more than a part-time job. But there are some instances where people think they have to work an extra side job, but they don't have to, right?
Yes, a lot of people don't understand that you need to put all your money to work for you. That means the savings account, the checking account, the emergency fund. Take that money, turn it into an income stream, and that's what we do for clients. We'll take a lump sum of money, say $100,000, and you'll get another $700 or $800 a month, where maybe you don't have to work that part-time job anymore.
Call Joe Thomas and schedule your no-charge consultation. And when you do, you get a free copy of his book, The Retirement Know-It-All. The number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, JupiterJoe.com. What would you do if telling the truth cost you everything? Jesse Rawson was a successful HR manager at the Hustler Casino. His career was on track until he uncovered secrets that put him at a crossroads. Stay silent and protect his future, or speak up and risk losing it all. He chose the truth in his powerful and must-read book, Fighting the Workplace Mob. Available on Amazon, author Jesse Rawson shares his personal story of courage, faith, and standing up against corruption in the workplace. After losing his career, he found something even greater: purpose, strength, and a deeper relationship with God. Fighting the Workplace Mob is an inspiring true story revealing what happens when you refuse to participate in what the Bible calls the worthless deeds of darkness and instead choose integrity no matter the cost. If you've ever faced unfair treatment at work, if you've ever been afraid to speak up, or if you're searching for strength during difficult times, Fighting the Workplace Mob is your next must-read book. Order your copy right now on Amazon Amazon. Stand up, speak truth, fight back the right way. Fighting the Workplace Mob from author Jesse Rawson on Amazon. Have you been looking for a smarter way to save money and make money with the things you already own? You can do just that with Rentology, the marketplace where neighbors rent, lend, and share everyday items. Think about all the things you buy, but you rarely use. A bike for that sunny weekend, camping gear for that one trip a year, a power washer that sits in the garage and never gets used. With Rentology, you can simply rent what you need when you need it and save money without adding more clutter to your home. And if you've got gear sitting around collecting dust, why not turn it into extra income? With Rentology, you can list your items, connect with people in your community, and start earning from the things you already own. It's simple to use too. Just go to the website rentology.com. That's RENTOLOGIE. Browse items near you, book online, meet locally, and share the experience. Rentology helps you save money, earn extra income, reduce waste, and connect with people who share your interest. Rent, lend, share, do more with less. Sign up right now. It's free at rentology.com. RENTOLOGIE. That's rentology.com. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. James Carville. You know, what's scary about James Carville, a lot of people forget. He was the third most powerful person in Washington at one time. Okay? You know, he was campaign manager for Bill Clinton in his first run, got him elected. And when Bill Clinton was elected, Bill Clinton was the most powerful person in Washington. Hillary Clinton was the second. And then it was James Carville. And he was not only the third most powerful person in Washington, he was celebrated by Democrats all over television, and he became one of the biggest campaign advisors of the 1990s. In fact, he even was an advisor on the campaign of Tony Blair in the UK when the Labour Party in the UK came to power and Tony Blair became prime minister the first time. I mean, this guy, he was once a very well-respected liberal, and now he's like a creepy old man. Listen.
Look, you fat fuck Trump, if you listen to this, you listen good, because what I'm getting ready to say is what a lot of people in this country speak for, who I speak for. And
who does he speak for? You know? Is this the voice, the tone, the face of a man who's part of a party that's winning the midterms? He's probably a superdelegate at their convention.
Look, you fat fuck Trump, if you listen to this, you listen good, because what I'm getting ready to say is what a lot of people in this country speak for, who I speak for. And I speak for a lot of fucking people. You hear me, you fat asshole? This is what we believe. You're right. I got Trump derangement syndrome. I hate the motherfucker. And you know what? I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get better. I want to get worse. I want to hate him more. I pray to God in heaven, God reign the righteous reign of Trump derangement syndrome. Pray for me, Lord. I'm your vessel on this earth. Pray for the people that listen to this. We want more. We want to hate the son of a bitch so much that we can't see straight. Look.
You know, as crazed as James Carville seems, okay, he's still a well-connected person in Democrat Party circles. I know you might not think so, but he is. And James Carville still has access to the internal polling of the Democrats, and he sees it, and they talk to him about it and everything else. And what that tells me is that the internal polling that the Democrats have tells them that it's hopeless in the midterms. Hopeless. And by the way, their polling is telling them it's hopeless in the midterms before the Save America Act is passed. So even with, I know it's hard not to laugh, right? Even without the Save America Act in place, okay, they're predicting a loss. You can see it. You can see it. You know, and when you see these panels on CNN, you can feel it. I'll give you another indication that, and again, this is without the Save America Act passed. They're predicting a loss. There's been a big lineup change over at MSNBC. They cut Morning Joe's show back by an hour. They got rid of some of their daytime talent. They moved some people from the weekends till the week. Goldbar Menendez, they gave his daughter a weekday show 5 days a week. You know, and they did a lot of... Why do you think they did a lineup change over at MS Now? You know why? Because the people they have on there are alienating people from the Democrat Party. This is an act of desperation to try to reorganize to a more likable schedule. So they've rearranged the deck chairs on the Titanic again as they go into the midterm election season. Every indicator we have shows that not only are we winning the midterms, we're winning them big. And this is without the Save America Act being passed. You know, if you're on hold, stand by. With the Save America Act passed, it's going to take a couple of elections. It may take, after it's in place, it'll be in place for the midterm, okay? But then we've got 2 years till the presidential after that. And the 2 years, it'll start going into effect right away. But local election supervisors are going to try to gum up the works, especially the Democrats. Local Democrats are going to, you know, their machines are going to do whatever they can do to slow walk implementing it. So we're only going to, by the time we get into the midterm elections, in huge areas of the country, California and other places, wherever Democrats are in charge, and even here in Florida, we, you know, as red and MAGA as Florida is here, we still have a lot of Democrat counties in Florida, and they're big counties, and they'll gum up the works here in Florida. So really, in the midterms this time, we're not going to have much more than the government-issued photo ID. Okay? They're just going to gum up the works too much to get everything in place. In the next 2 years, though, that's when things are really going to happen after that. That's when they're going to run the Social Security numbers through and take care of that. People that register are going to have to prove citizenship. And then by the time we get to the next presidential election, we're going to have the freest, fairest, and most accurate presidential election of any of our lifetimes in the next presidential election. And then by the next midterms, 4 years from now, okay, we're going to have our first totally clean voter roll compared to now. It's going to take time, okay? So you got to be patient and understand that. But even without the Save America Act, Carville, CNN, MS Now, all these people, their actions tell you. And I'm telling you, I've experienced so many elections with these people. When they're winning and we're losing, they're happy people. They're only unhinged when we're winning and they're losing. So here we have again Rand Paul on Markwayne Mullin on Fox today.
But whether or not this is a personal sort of disagreement,
of course it's
not
personal.
A personal disagreement when one of your colleagues says that they can completely understand why 6 of your ribs were broken.
Okay, this whole thing here that, you know, Rand Paul was attacked in his front yard by a raving lunatic Democrat, and that's god-awful. And the guy got a slap on the wrist. I can't remember the exact sentencings now. It's been a while, but he got a slap on the wrist. He should have been in prison for 20-plus years for doing what he did to a sitting United States senator. And Rand Paul was attacked again outside the White House after the convention in the Trump's second election, if you remember that. Markwayne Mullin said he understood why the guy did it. He didn't say he approved of it. Those are two entirely different things, okay? This may be hard for you to believe, but there are people in this listening audience who, for some reason, they don't like me. Now, while I would not approve of any violence being done against me, and I know you wouldn't either, you would understand why somebody did it. They're a raving lunatic Democrat. They got Trump derangement syndrome. Understanding why they did it doesn't mean you approve of why they did it. You ever watch ID? I love ID. My wife and I, we love Dateline, right? There's a murder in Dateline. You understand why they did it. It was either sex or money or both. It doesn't mean you approve of it, but you know why they did it. That's what Markwayne Mullin was saying. But Rand Paul, like many people in government, especially senators, is a complete narcissist.
But whether or not this is a personal sort of disagreement, it is not a personal disagreement when one of your colleagues says that they can completely understand why 6 of your ribs were broken, your lung was damaged. I had part of my lung removed. I had an infection, almost had, I had an infection.
It was
that had a
god-awful.
25% death rate. So, I mean, no, I went through hell. And anybody who thinks that that's something that's commendable is...
He didn't say it was commendable. He understood the motivation. He knew what the motivation was for the guy, the motive. Doesn't mean he approves of it.
An unfit person to lead law enforcement.
Unbelievable.
But it's not just that. It's his reaction in committees, jumping up, saying he'll fight the person there, taking his wedding ring off. And then the idea that really, it's justified because we've had canings before. I ask you.
That's true. There was a cane. I can't remember when it was. 1800s. There was one congressman caned another one.
About Charles Sumner, the famous abolitionist who was bludgeoned nearly
that's
to
the
death.
one.
He's unconscious, laying on the ground, blood coming out of his ear, blood coming out of his mouth. He is unconscious, and the thug from South Carolina kept beating him. He could have been dead for all he knew, and there was another representative from South Carolina with a gun holding everyone back so they couldn't help him. And somehow Markwayne Mullin
Imagine
thinks
if that was on
that's a good
C-SPAN.
example of when men were men, and that's the way we could settle our differences, man to man. Well, that's crazy. Nobody believes that. I didn't think in the modern world, even in 1860, they thought it was terrible what happened to Charles Sumner. And if he can't see that or empathize with people who have suffered from political violence, boy, I think he really precludes himself from this kind of job.
Okay, that's nothing like Markwayne Mullin said. He didn't say any of that. He just he knew what the guy's motive was. And if you're going to be a law enforcement leader, like he's going to be, Markwayne Mullin, because he will get confirmed, you solve crimes by understanding and finding out what someone's motivation is. Now, I got no use for Rand Paul at all. I don't know why liberals would dislike him, because he helps them. Which side does Rand Paul help the most in your mind? The Democrats or the Republicans? I think he helps the Democrats. The Democrats should love Rand Paul. He's got your back. Right? He's got your back. Democrats, Rand Paul. Oh, my goodness. What a jerk. I came across this. I just play some of this. This is a liberal girl who's been red-pilled.
All right, y'all. I'm officially coming out as a Republican. The left has truly swayed me over to the right. And I think they're proud of it too, because all of this stupid controversy going on because of a comment that I made on a TikTok video.
Okay. We don't need to hear all the reasoning, but, ask yourself this, okay? A couple questions. How many people have you heard of that have been red-pilled? You yourself may have been red-pilled, right? How many people have you heard that have been red-pilled? I mean, you couldn't even make a list. So many, right? It happens all the time, like this girl. Do you know of anyone who's been blue-pilled? Truly blue-pilled. I don't mean somebody who's been bought off. I mean someone who's had a true mental revelation that they're walking away from the MAGA Republican Party and are becoming a Democrat. That would be blue-pilled. Do you know of a documented true blue-pilling? There aren't any. There aren't any. That's right. But the number of red pillings, you couldn't even begin to make a list of everyone you've personally heard of who's been red pilled. What does that tell you? It tells you Michael Savage is right that liberalism is a mental disorder. It is impossible for someone truly to be blue. Now, somebody can be bought off and bribed and coerced and blackmailed. But, people like this girl here who fill social media with a personal story that they've been a liberal, they've been a Democrat their whole life, and I don't know, she made some comment on TikTok and then they're trying to cancel her. I don't know. It's unimportant. And then they realize this is ridiculous. And then boom, they wake up and they're red-pilled. When have you seen a real person like this who was honest and said, I've been blue-pilled. I'm a Democrat now. I don't think there's a single true documented case of that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's more to share. I'm Brian. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Dr. Philip Appleton. You've been hearing my commercials about bye-bye pain, my laser weight treatment, but today's commercial and today's spot is going to be on Tom Laporta, Laporta Roofing. What an experience I've had with him and his company. They've done a few of my friends' houses and my son and my house, and there's never a downtime. They're old school, which means you call them up, they'll be there. How many times have you called somebody up and they never show up, or they give you an excuse, weather, traffic, whatever? Tom Laporta, what a class act. The workmanship, the magnificent teamwork they have. I recommend them 100%.
Thanks, Dr. Appleton. Now do what Dr. Appleton did. Pick up your phone and call Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing on your cell phone. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. Looking for a podcast that's real, honest, and full of heart? Then add Inside Our Minds to your podcast playlist right now. Inside Our Minds is a podcast hosted by Robbie and Ashama that gives you a chance to hear life from their perspective. Both Robbie and Ashama live with disabilities, but this show isn't about labels. It's about stories, dreams, relationships, and the way they see the world. From conversations about love and dream dates to honest questions about life and the future. Every episode of Inside Our Minds brings authentic moments and meaningful laughs. So if you want a podcast that's genuine, inspiring, and sometimes hilarious, listen to Inside Our Minds right now on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, and before we move on, I want to talk about this great deal from the great Mike Lindell of MyPillow, and it's with the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. My wife and I have been sleeping on our 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper for years. It is the number one MyPillow product. It really is. It turns your entire bed into a MyPillow. And it also has temperature regulating technology in it so that your body is the perfect temperature all night long throughout the entire year. If it's hot out, you're cool and comfortable. If it's cold out, you're warm and toasty. You're the perfect. You're Goldilocks with this. But it turns your entire mattress into a big MyPillow. So if you have a lopsided mattress, a lumpy, bumpy mattress, a hard mattress, you think you need a new mattress, get the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It will change your life. It also makes a great gift. Mother's Day is coming up. Father's Day after that. And right now is the best deal I've ever seen on the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. With my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com, you get 30% off the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. But that's not all. You also get 2 free MyPillows and 2 free MyPillow pillowcases for it. And there's more, free shipping on top of it. 30% off the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper, 2 free MyPillows, 2 free MyPillow pillowcases, and free shipping with my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. It will change your life. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, IB.
Oh, hey, IB.
Brian.
What's
the
up?
It's the infamous Broward County, man.
Yes.
You know what? I actually had to write down when I saw Rand Paul's hearing today, but I only wrote one sentence. What is Rand Paul's deal, man? That's what I wrote down. And then when you came on today, I didn't know you were going to hit on it. And that you kind of explained it. Did he not remember that he almost got killed at the White House because of the Democrats? Does he not remember?
Yeah.
Him and his wife had to get protected by those 2 cops.
Yep.
How can he sound like a Democrat grilling Mark?
Mullin.
How could he be grilling Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mullin. Mark Mullin.
Markwayne Mullin.
Mark Mullin.
Yeah.
Yeah. How could he? What is he doing? What Steve Kane says, what side is he on? I was thrown for a loop.
See, I think that all of the Kentucky Republicans are useless. But you know, the thing with Rand Paul is he's obviously intimidated by Markwayne Mullin, and he's so intimidated he gets scared and nervous around him. He's terrified of him.
But I don't think that should matter, Brian. I think he should do whatever Trump wants. If he wants to be in the MAGA movement in the future, maintain his seat without any opposition, and control the chair that he has, I don't see like why he would be out there feeling like he's being personally attacked rather than just approve the guy position as per his qualifications. It threw me off for a loop. Yeah. And the lady who was a part of the CIA lady, Slotkin.
Oh, yes.
Who was a part of that, the five, her and Mr. Mark Kelly. I mean, the words that came out of her mouth talking about freedom and democracy. Mm-hmm. You know what? I see her as a super Karen, a Karen on steroids.
No doubt about it.
She has a lot of gall.
Yeah, she sure
does.
And
I know Trump has her on a hit list. Trump has to have her on a hit list because she's just constantly out there just bashing America, bashing the American people, and bashing
on the list of those to criticize. Absolutely. All right, I appreciate the call. If you're on hold, hang in there. Appreciate the call, IB. Victor Davis Hanson. I personally believe, and maybe you agree with this, maybe you don't, but I think that Victor Davis Hanson is the most brilliant conservative thinker in America today. Isn't he? He's an intellectual. And when he talks, I listen. And he was talking today. Let me pull this up. I'm gonna read you what he said today because I thought it was just amazing. And it is something that I've been talking about a little bit lately. Okay, and he was on the air today. Listen to this. This is what he said on his show today. Trump started pulling back on the JD energy and pivoting praise on Marco Rubio. Saying things, I'm reading, this is what Victor Davis Hanson said today on his program. Marco was the best Secretary of State in history. He's quoting Trump. When asked about Vance, Trump said, Vance is a little bit less enthusiastic, but enthusiastic. And then Victor Davis Hanson says, that's Trump speak for we have a problem. Hanson's read on what Trump is communicating is this. JD, you have to divorce yourself from these extremist agents. The problem is that, well, anyway, he goes on. But what Victor Davis Hanson was saying is that he believes that the president wants to pass JD over for the nomination to be the second MAGA president and Marco Rubio become the second MAGA president. And I think he's right. When is he ever wrong, Victor Davis Hanson, right? He is very smart. He is brilliant. I always listen to him when he speaks, and his analysis is so spot on. Every time I've heard him, I've never heard him give analysis that I didn't think was spot on, right on the money. Have you, Victor Davis Hanson? Yeah, he is brilliant. And I think we all love J.D. Vance, but I think most MAGA people want Marco Rubio to be the second MAGA president, not J.D. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Doug from 9 out of California.
Hey, what's up?
First of all, I really wanted to take a moment and to thank you for giving individuals like myself and many of the callers that call in on a daily basis an opportunity to speak about these issues. It's helped me with the frustration that I feel, and I just wanted to also thank your wife because I know that you've been working so hard and giving so much of your time towards this craft. And
well, thank you.
So I just wanted to take time out to thank you for that.
Well, thank you, and you're welcome at the same time.
In regards to Hanson's predictions, I don't think you actually have another choice. I think Hexit and Rubio would be a fantastic ticket.
Yeah.
Marco has a perspective on the world that I don't think JD has been able to grasp as of yet. And I think that's just due to his history and because of his political his political, him being
he's
as
new.
close as he was.
He's new,
Congress.
and you know, a lot of you guys may not know this, but Marco Rubio, the reason Marco Rubio ran for Senate, he was in the state legislature in Florida, and he was a leader there, and he was term limited out of office in the state legislature. And that was a big factor in him running for U.S. Senate. So he's got a lot more experience in government.
I also think that is out of everybody, because anybody that has been like a quote unquote like no Trumper at one point in time,
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical. But I do have to say that I don't know if it was a come to Jesus moment that Marco had, but Marco has been so strong. He dominates everything. He just does. In my opinion, he's so much similar to Trump in regards to the way that he addresses things that I just don't see. I just don't see another option. I'm not saying that JD cannot make have an important impact. I don't know where that impact is, but he is too fresh, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. There's a few other things. Yes, you're correct. We don't know him as well as Marco Rubio, okay, because he hasn't been on the scene as long. And Marco Rubio is the greatest Secretary of State we've had in my lifetime, and maybe ever. You know, you see all these big things that he's doing. Cuba's coming up next. Venezuela, that was all him. You know, with Higgs, you know, and he's got a list of accomplishments that who could match that?
His tenacity, the way that he is so upfront, and yet, I mean, it's amazing to see how he has blossomed into the leader, in my opinion, that we need following Trump.
Agreed.
One last thing, because your phones are probably off the chain. As far as what's his name, is it the senator Paul, whatever his name is?
Rand Paul. He's one of the Senate. He's the other senator from Kentucky. Him and McConnell.
Yeah, Rand Paul is a cuck, and the reason why I say that is that you mean to tell me that you don't have another actual question to ask this person instead of taking whatever issues that you have and being a man and handling it back, you know what I mean? Like back in private areas.
You know what it reminded me? You know what it kind of reminded me of, Rand Paul today? Some guy who in high school was a geek who was bullied, and then as an adult he encounters the big man on campus, even though it wasn't his campus, and he's just totally intimidated by him, and that's Markwayne Mullin. He is just intimidated by the aura of manliness that comes off of Markwayne Mullin's body. Yeah, does that make sense to you? Is that crazy? I don't know. But that's how I felt he was scared of Markwayne Mullin.
But totally. But also don't forget what Rand Paul is. Rand Paul is a doctor, and most doctors are actually narcissists.
That's
and as
true.
far as I'm and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying all. I'm saying most. Because that's the mentality, but whatever you want to call it. I think Rand Paul actually showed that he has more estrogen than testosterone.
Yes.
He could have obviously handled that, back in a private area and actually
but that doesn't give him the protection he needs. He has protection on TV sitting there as a senator. Back in the cloakroom of the Senate, he doesn't have the protection against the Letterman quarterback from the football team. You know what I mean? He is
That's why he's a cuck. And lastly, in regards to, oh my gosh, I'm having the older guy that actually has all that was cussing and calling Trump all those derogatory
James Carville.
names.
James Carville.
Yes. Okay. So my question is this: James Carville, why is it that he gets so upset over an individual who ended up creating a movement that has been so America first?
Yeah.
He has been part of this establishment that has been manipulating and using people to such a degree that all they end up caring about is ensuring that they keep in the political elite. California is a great example. I hope you end up covering this at one point because I know that there's so much news. But all of this fraud that's coming out with Nick Shirley, Cam Higby, And also,
well, Dr. Oz came out today in support of Nick Shirley's reporting in California, and he said he's all over it.
Yeah, but they're coming out with all of this stuff that has to do with them being like homeless people being manipulated and paid for their votes. And the sad thing about it is that the Democratic Party is one thing. They use and manipulate people. They use the black African Americans. They use the Hispanic immigrants, and now they are using homeless, drug addicted, and mentally ill people to keep their agenda going. All they do is use and abuse people, and Carville is part of that, and that's why he's so upset. They no longer have their grips on the political power because MAGA has come into town and is going to actually end up showing the American people how great it can be.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, I appreciate the call. All right, take care. All right, by the way, make sure you guys like the video, okay, if you're watching on YouTube. If you like the video on YouTube, it helps get the program recommended to people that have not yet found the program. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast platform you're listening on, make sure you subscribe because that has the same effect. So make sure you subscribe and follow on whatever platform you're listening on. That helps grow the channel too. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know...
Oh, hold on, Mike. Let me answer some phones here. Yeah, all right. Go ahead, Mike. Oh, hold on. All right, there you go. Oh, hold on. I got the lines mixed up. All right, Mike, go ahead.
The Democrats like to deal in pejoratives. I mean, I guess you can say it all started with the word redneck, but they tried to turn the term MAGA into a pejorative, which is a contemptuous. The definition of pejorative is a contemptuous thing, right? That a thing of contempt. Well, it hasn't worked. According to those stats you gave earlier in your show, it has not worked. 100% for MAGA, right? The numbers inside the Democratic Party, 30%, up from 28%, right? So them trying to do that has not worked, just like everything else hasn't worked.
That's right. You're right. I appreciate the call, Mike. Yeah, Mike from Louisiana is right on and spot on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ. What's up? Oh, by the way, hold on, JJ. Well, before I get to JJ, I want to remind you guys that if you'd like to support my show and all my content, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description on whatever platform you're listening on. When you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcasts, okay? But you also become a member of the Insider Club. I do live streams exclusively on the Patreon platform for Patreon supporters, and I talk about a lot of things I never cover here. You hear me talk about some of the callers. I give you some background and behind the scenes on some of these weirdos that I talk to because I know a lot about them more than they realize, and all kinds of things. And if you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to all of that and much more, including the Insider Club where you get the exclusive live streams. If you become a top Patreon supporter, you get your name up on the screen on YouTube and a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. The names you'll hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank ETW, SF Jr., Christine, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, Lizep, Shauna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, Janice, Teresa, Irene, and Rick. Thank you to my top Patreon supporters. Again, to become a member of the Insider Club of Patreon, there's a link in the description of the episode. All right, go ahead. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, no worries. A lot of good people you just mentioned there. I was just going to say Carville.
Oh, I love it.
He reminds me that breakdown, that mental episode. It brings me in a way. To me much worse. But it goes back. It's sort of like an ode to what the hell is his name? Howard Dean, the Dean scream. You know, it just that scream.
Oh yes, Howard Dean. When Howard Dean won that primary and he lost everything.
With just that one, but but Carville, he may still have power, and I think he's a perfect representation of the Democrat Party. But you see Trump during the during the State of the Union, he says or whatever, he says these people are crazy.
Yes.
And I can see the ad. I can see the ad right now. The ads are going to be everywhere. These people are crazy.
Yes.
And then they show this scream and fool Carville, because that's who these people are. They're losing it. All the lies that they have told, and that's basically what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They lie about everything.
Yep.
And once people figure that out, it's over for them. And that's why I was so very happy to see the statistic of 100% support for MAGA. But not only that, that it has grown. The MAGA support
That's
has
right.
grown.
It's grown.
And
Stayed strong and grown through everything.
Exactly. That is. It's a great thing. And Rand Paul, God bless that poor fool. That was just, I don't know.
I felt sorry for him.
Yeah, it's kind of pathetic. I mean, I don't know what the hell.
He reminds him,
about.
Markwayne Mullin. By the way, his first name is Markwayne. Wayne is not his middle name. His mother named him Markwayne. Markwayne Mullin represents the guys that gave Rand Paul wedgies in high school and middle school and stuff. That's what it is. And he's just to me, it looked like it was PTSD from somebody who was bullied in high school or middle school.
Yeah, he did not. He didn't do himself any favors. It was just kind of sad and pathetic, really. But one of a positive thing I want to mention to you is yesterday we were watching your afternoon show. My sister was here with me, and we were watching it. And she looks up at the screen and she sees your spot from Jupiter Joe.
Yes.
And I don't know if you look at your face on that, Brian. When you get a chance. Look at your face, and other people should too. And they see the Jupiter Joe spot of you're together, and you're speaking. Your face compared to what it is right now, I'm telling you, the secret is out. But I'm telling you, coastal weight loss. Those people, I can't believe they've probably doubled their sales just off of you. I can't. I mean, I've seen some people lose some weight. But and a lot of people just, there's a lot of lying and crap that goes on, but you can't lie. You can't lie about what happened to you. You can see it.
I know you can see my neck, and you can see. I could have lost. I know it's amazing. I didn't realize that I needed to lose weight, because when you see yourself every day, you gain weight so slowly you don't realize it. You just kind of get used to it.
It's normal. Yeah. It's normal to you. It's normal to you. But when you see the side by side now. I mean, it looks like, quite honestly, the old you, it looks like you're in Hollywood and you have a fat suit on.
Oh, my goodness.
Compared to what you are right now.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, that's what you've got to take a look. I mean, you probably,
I've seen.
I mean, I'm sure
you don't think I've seen?
Yourself.
You don't think I've seen?
You've seen it. I mean, I've seen it. I noticed it back when you were first doing it, but I'm like, what the hell's going on?
When I started Coastal Weight Loss, and I'll give you guys the number. They sponsor the radio station, not my podcast, so I don't really talk about them too much here. But I'll give you the number in a minute. But when I started Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I was on their program for 2 weeks before I told you guys about it, because Dr. Zuckerman over there, I said, I've never been on any type of organized weight loss program before, so I don't know if I could do it. I got to see if I could do it before I tell other people to do it. And after the first week, I was itching to tell you, but I had to wait 2 weeks just to make sure. And
you had to wait a little bit. Well,
yeah.
A lot of people, the thing is with weight loss, there's so many damn weight loss things out there, and a lot of people think they think that there's a scam going on or it's scripted, something stupid like that. Those poor fools, God bless them. But when it's right in front of your face, I mean, I'm watching your show, and I noticed it a little bit because I noticed things, and then when you came out and you said that, and now all you got to do is just look at you. I mean, I think maybe after you announced it, the second or third day after you announced it, I said, yeah, you need to go, because I went back into your site, to your YouTube site, and I went back like 2 years, 3 years. I went back and watched old videos of you and looked at your face and your neck. And I was like, my God, wow.
I know.
I'm like, that before, after.
And I saw Kelly Osbourne yesterday online, and she's taken one of those shots or pilsers. She looks sick, man. I mean,
I hate that stuff. That's
that
the worst
Ozempic
thing in the world,
look and everything that people get, and Coastal Weight Loss Secret. There's no pills or anything or shots. It's all natural. And that's you look like yourself. I know. Well, let me give out the number. This is an unpaid endorsement here because they don't advertise on my podcast. They advertise on the radio station. But give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. And what's crazy is we've had listeners all over the United States call them up. All right, and so no matter where you are, give them a call. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300, and online coastalweightlossecret.com. Yeah, but I appreciate that.
All right, my man.
All right, take care. And by the way, do I have to? I'm not going to cut that out for the Patreon supporters because he's complimenting me. It's not really a commercial. All right, let's go. Let's see here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean, what's up?
Well, when you look at Rand Paul, like the thing I think is Rand Paul is like.
Oh, by the way, Job, appreciate. Just real quick, I want to give a shout out to Job. Thank you so much for that super sticker. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Rand Paul is like a little kid that goes up the hill, runs up the hill to go see the sunset, sees the sunset, see the sunrise, sees the sunrise go halfway up in the sky before it fully goes up, runs all the way back and says he's seen the sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Rand Paul is.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the full picture. Now, who gets the full picture is Marco Rubio.
Yes.
What a contrast.
Yeah.
Because this man, I mean, what we've seen him do on the world stage already, he's ready.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I can't believe
No doubt.
His growth, he's gone leaps and bounds, exponentially unbelievable what he's been able to do. His growth over the few years, ever since he ran the first time, before that when he was senator, how much this guy has grown into this.
Now,
what we're seeing now.
We've seen it, what we've seen, and us in Florida even more so, because like I said, he was in the state legislature representing Miami for years, and then he got Trump. We've seen him grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trump's no longer calling him Little Marco. I mean, that was
no, not anymore.
Time, of course.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I think it's amazing the respect.
Remember when he gave the response to that Obama State of the Union and he blew it with the glass of water and all that? It was really bad. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that was a dark day for Marco Rubio, that State of the Union response. It was disastrous.
Oh.
What happened was he was giving, you guys can look it up online. He was giving the State of the Union to one of Obama's. The first one was Bobby Jindal, and Bobby Jindal blew it. He gave the Republican response. He was the governor of Louisiana, Bobby Jindal, and he was an Indian American. And he did so poorly in the response to the state. You don't hear he disappeared, Bobby Jindal. And then I don't know if it was the next year. I don't remember how far after, but Marco Rubio did the response, and he was so nervous he got dry mouth and he started drinking water, and it was really bad. And I bet you he thought his political career was over when that happened. And then when he was running for president against Trump, he had made a promise that if I don't win the nomination, he says, I'm not running for my Senate reelection. This will be it. And then he had to drop out, and then he decided to run again. So he's had a couple of low moments, Marco Rubio, where he thought his political career was over. And now look at him. He's favorited. He's the greatest Secretary of State the United States has ever had.
To say that too, that position is no joke, and to say he's the greatest, which he is, it more than qualifies. I mean, Victor Davis Hanson is always right, and I totally 100,000% agree with him on this too, because everything that Victor Davis Hanson says is true. Everything.
Yeah, everything.
He's right about everything.
Take it to the bank.
He's calculated. Yep, definitely. And you know what? I mean, we're going to see a future president, Marco Rubio. And you know what? J.D. Vance, he'll get there one time. I think, but Marco Rubio's got a killer combination of experience. Not only that, he gets out there into the world like he's doing, and the way he's negotiating with other countries, and his experience as a politician itself on every level, local, state, everything. I mean, he's done it all. And I think that and J.D. Vance, you'll see what happens with him. You never know, and who knows who'll be the running mate to Marco? Maybe it will be him. Maybe it will be Pete Hegseth. Either one, we can't go wrong. Our bench is deep.
JD could be vice president again. I don't think there's term limits on vice president. He could be vice president for another time or two.
That can happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that either. And who knows? Maybe by that time we'll see something different in him. I mean, I think he's great anyway. But
it's hard to.
It
is very difficult to shine as vice president because you really have no job responsibilities. It's very hard, especially when you're going up against a superstar who's changing the world like Marco Rubio.
Well, I mean, I will say one thing for what he's doing as vice president is still more significant than any other vice president has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see more of him than we would see a Kamala Harris or you know, a Biden when he was vice president or any of the other vice presidents.
Well, and you know, between Pence and Kamala Harris, we all have bad taste in our mouths about vice presidents.
Yeah, Pence.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Pence, another one. Yeah, another. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's another.
All right, well, listen, I got to run, but I appreciate the call.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. Make sure that you subscribe if you're new or follow wherever you're listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please like the video. Liking the video is what grows the YouTube channel. So those of you watching on YouTube, please like the video. And those of you listening on the different podcast platforms, make sure that you follow and subscribe because that's the same effect on the podcast platforms when you subscribe or follow on the platform. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast where MAGA comes to talk. I'll see you in the morning on the morning show. Take care.